Welcome to another how to play video. As you can see, this video is also on Tabletopia. Okay, that means that we'll be using this digital tool to teach the game, and also means that the game is available for free. You can try it out for free on Tabletopia. Okay, what game are we going to play? Are we going to teach today? We're going to teach Petris. Petris is a game about bacterial control for 2 players, ages 10 and up, and about 10 minutes more or less of playing time. Okay. Here in this how to play video, I will only teach the basics of the game, okay, including the setup that I've already prepared here on Tabletopia. The game has more components and more mechanics, but I will leave that for another video. Okay, we're using Tabletopia because at the time of the recording of this video, the game is not yet available. It hasn't been produced yet. Okay, but you can still get it in our website. So what do we do in this game? So in this game, in Petris, each player embodies a scientist who should control the propagation of bacteria under their supervision. As you can see, here we have some Petri dishes, okay, and we have some bacteria, okay. These bacteria, they are hungry and they are always looking for food in the adjacent Petri dishes. So you will have to watch out, okay, because the bacteria that remain alone in a Petri dish will eat a lot and then they will reproduce, making it more complicated to control them. Okay, you'll see how the theme is very well integrated in the mechanics in this game. So for the setup, what do we need to do? Okay, in this when we play with 2 players, because the game can also be played with 3 players, but I'm not going to cover that. Okay, we create this playing area with 7 Petri dishes. Okay, there's a starting dish for each player with their associated bacteria here, as you can see. Okay, then there's more bacteria tokens and Sarkina tokens for each player, and then we have another board here. This is a double purpose board because here we have the score. As you can see, the score starts at 0 and goes negative. One of the ways to lose in this game is when we reach -1. This is in the contamination track. Okay, if a player reaches this contamination, they'll automatically lose the game. Okay, we'll go more in depth about the end of the game and how to win once we've explained the setup and the mechanics. Okay, but the other part that we have on this board is the turn tracking. Okay, as we can see, there's 4 rounds. Okay, and there's different phases that will be passing on each round. Okay, I will explain this in a little bit. Okay, so let's go. Once we know the setup and we know the components of the game, let's go on how to play. Well, as I was saying, we will play 4 rounds. Okay, and in each round there are 3 propagation phases, which are marked with the numbers per player. There's 3 binary fission phases that are marked with these ones. Okay, let me do a little bit more zoom so that we can see better. So the numbers are the propagation phases. This division, cell division, is the binary fission phase, and at the end of each round there is a contamination phase. That's where the points are scored. Okay, and remember that the points are always negative in this game. You don't want to score. Okay, it's a bit like, I don't know, for example in hearts. Okay, so how are those phases played? Well, very easy. The propagation phase, as you can see, they alternate between the blue and the red player. Okay, in each propagation phase, the active player, be it the blue or the red, must make a valid propagation. Okay, and how do you do that? Well, let's say that I'm the blue player, so I'm starting. I would put on the first phase of the first round, I will put the marker here. Okay, so each player starts with a bacteria token on their starting dishes. Okay, so whenever you have to do a propagation, you have to choose one of the dishes here in the playing area that contains at least one of your bacteria. Okay, and then from that dish you can move any number of your bacteria into adjacent dishes. Okay, but with two rules that you need to enforce, which is that a dish can never contain the exact number of bacteria from each player. So let's say that the other player had, we were more advanced into the game, and it's my turn. I cannot, and I only have bacteria here. I can only choose this disk, so then I couldn't move it here. Even though it's an adjacent disk, that would mean that in this disk there would be exactly one bacteria of mine and one bacteria of the other player, so that's not allowed. Okay, I could move it here, for example. Okay, and you always need to move at least one bacteria. Okay, so I cannot say, okay, I choose this disk that only has one bacteria and I don't move anyone. Okay, be very careful, because if you can't make a valid propagation, that's another reason for you losing the game. Okay, so you have to be you have to keep that in mind. Also, whenever we do a propagation, or if there's a binary fission, you have to check if in that disk, if in any disk on the playing area, there's 5 or more bacteria. Okay, in that case, let's imagine that I finish my propagation or my binary fission, as we will see in a bit, and I have 5 of mine here. So then what I would do is I would remove them. Okay, put them back into my supply, as you can see here, and then I would substitute them for a Sarkina token. Okay, that's 5 bacteria. Okay, and in addition, a player won't be able to move any bacteria to a dish containing one of their Sarkina. So that completely blocks this disk for us. Okay, so as you can see, having a Sarkina is a very bad thing. Okay, that's something that happens when we haven't managed to contain the explosion of our bacteria. So then what other type? So as we would continue the round here, I would do my propagation, then the red player would do their propagation. Let's say this. So I had one here, and in my propagation phase I move it here, and then it's the red player's turn who moves theirs to here. Okay, and then we have a binary fission. Okay, these are where the bacteria are going to divide. Okay, in this phase, okay, for each dish we have to check if it contains bacteria from just one player or from both players. In each dish that contains only bacteria from one player, we add another bacteria. So as you can see, this can mean that we have to put a Sarkina token. Okay, in this case I would put, the blue player would put 1 in this dish and the red player would put 1 in this dish. Now let's imagine that we had a dish that was like this. Remember, there can never be equal number of bacteria of the different colors in the same dish. So in this dish we wouldn't add any bacteria, since there's bacteria from both players. Okay. Okay, and at the end of each round we will have a contamination phase. Okay, let's imagine that the round finished like this. What do we do in the contamination phase? Here is when we will advance our scoring. Okay, the player for each dish, we will see who is the player that has more bacteria in that dish. Okay, then we count 1 point for each dish where we have the majority. So in the end, Petris is a minority game. Okay, we will try and have always the minority. Okay, so in this case, let's imagine that we arrive to the contamination phase like this. Red player has majority in this dish and this dish, so red player would score 2 points. Okay, blue player would score, it has the majority here, but they don't have the majority here. Okay, so they would score only 1 point. Okay, so remember, scoring is bad in this game. So at the end of the first round, let's say that the blue player is winning. Okay. Okay, and what about the end game? Okay, the game can end in one of three ways. Okay, if during your turn a player can make you can make a valid propagation, you immediately and automatically lose the game. Okay, as we had previously explained. Okay. If on any contamination phase there's a player that advances their token because they score too many points, they advance their token to here or lower, then that player loses the game. Okay, and the other player wins, obviously. Okay, that means that you haven't managed your bacteria and they have reproduced too much, so the cell culture that we have on those Petri dishes is completely ruined. Okay. If both players finish here, cross this threshold in the same phase, the player with fewer tokens, in counting bacteria and sarcina on the dishes here on the playing area, wins. If the tie remains, well, the player with fewer sarcina on the dishes wins. Okay, and then the last way to finish the game is whenever we reach the fourth and final contamination phase. Well, the player that has advanced less on the contamination track will win. So imagine that the fourth contamination phase ended like this. Then, since the blue player has advanced their scoring or their contamination token less than the red player, then that would be the player who will win. Blue would win this game. Okay. So, well, as you've seen, the game is very rules light. Okay. It has a lot of strategic impact and decisions, and it plays to players. So I definitely invite you to try it out for free on Tabletopia. If you've liked this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you haven't liked it, well, give us a thumbs down and tell us why. And if you like this kind of content, you know that you can subscribe to our channel, so like this you will get the notifications whenever we post a new video. Okay. And well, thanks a lot for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.